Kuva is a resource which becomes available in the mid-game and continues to be important as you progress. It's used in construction of some Warframes, as well as a few other blueprints here or there. The primary use for Kuva, however, is to cycle the stats on a Riven to attempt to get something powerful. So where can you get it, and what farms are the best? I'm Nick Engineer, let's solve the practical problem. If you're at the stage of wanting to farm Kuva, you're either building or have built a collection of Rivens and other goodies. To help you manage and trade them, you should check out the sponsor of today's video. Warframe is a powerful third-party companion app on PC designed to make your Warframe inventory simple to manage. Recently, it has gained a sleek new look, as well as improved integration with Warframe.market, making it easier than ever to trade your items. It also has a whole new Riven section, showing you what Rivens you have, how high each stat is, and it gives you a seamless way to list your Riven for sale or auction. This means you spend less time fiddling with your inventory, allowing you to get back on with playing Warframe. Even there, Warframe's relic overlay helps you choose the best relic and best reward for every fisher. So download Warframe for free now with the link in the video description. When it comes to Kuva, if you're not touching Rivens, then you'll need about 20,000 Kuva to build every non-cosmetic item once. Incidentally, the current Nightwave season rewards 20,000 Kuva at rank 12, and all previous seasons have offered at least 20,000 Kuva by roughly the same rank. So assuming you're completing Nightwave to even that low tier one way or another, you'll have enough to cover all of that just as a matter of course. Once you include Riven rolls, however, a little Nightwave Kuva will not cut it. Rivens cost a minimum of 900 Kuva to cycle their stats, climbing to a max of 3,500 Kuva for the 10th and subsequent rerolls. Naturally, the only reason to cycle Riven is to try and get good stats, either for yourself or to sell. If you prefer to play without Riven mods, or have the platinum available to just purchase the mods you want from other players, then again you can settle for just the Nightwave reward Kuva. Otherwise, to get those good stats, and I've covered in a previous video what constitutes good stats, you're going to have to do some farming. Aside from the Nightwave rank reward, Kuva can be obtained from over a dozen different methods. Most of these options only become available after the War Within quest at a minimum. So as not to waste your time, let's strike off the ones which can be dismissed as non-farms for how little Kuva they give for your time. The open world bounties from the Ostrons and Solaris both have Kuva available in their tier 4 and 5 bounties, while the Entrati offer Kuva just through their tier 5 bounty. The drop rates range from modest to terrible, and in low quantities, meaning that even with the highest paying bounty, the tier 5 from the Solaris, you would still struggle to get much more than 1000 Kuva per hour. Likewise with Kuva Liches and Kuva Larvlings, they both give a little bit of Kuva when you fight them. However, it's a token amount offered alongside you going through the process of creating and killing a Kuva Lich. As much as you'll get Kuva along the way, it doesn't qualify as a farm. Sorties and Archon hunts can reward Kuva as part of the drop table awarded at the end of the mission set. It's 6,000 Kuva from a sortie or 12,000 from the Archon hunt with matching 12% drop rates. For the typical time taken on these missions, it's not nothing, but it's also nothing to really write home about. As you can only run one sortie per day and one Archon hunt per week for modest returns, this again isn't really a farm. Finally, there's the Kuva option from the Nightwave store in addition to the rank reward. Kuva there comes in a pack of 10,000 at the cost of 50 Nightwave creds. I do not recommend this, as you are usually better off picking up either an Archon reactor or catalyst for 75 creds, or picking up the aura mods both to use and to sell. With a little bit of trading effort, you can end up with enough platinum from aura mod sales to outright buy the Riven you want, rather than throw a few rolls in with crossed fingers. Considering as well that you can only get about 4 ranks per week of Nightwave, not counting recovered challenges from weeks you may have skipped, there's a pretty low limit on how much Kuva you could get this way even if you wanted to. So again, it's an option, but it is not a reliable farm. With these poorer choices out of the way, we've got a short list of the locations and methods which do give a substantial amount of Kuva. Your options are Kuva Survival, Kuva Disruption, Requiem Relics, Kuva Siphons and Kuva Floods, as well as purchasing Kuva using Steel Essence, Vitus Essence, Riven Slivers and Voidplume Pinions. As if to complicate matters, these farms all have some amount of overlap, but that's a good thing. Voidplume Pinions and Riven Slivers both lead to strictly limited farms for Kuva, as they can be traded in with their respective vendors for Kuva only once a week. For the Voidplume Pinions, these are available after completing the quest The Angels of the Zariman, where you can trade in 5 pinions for 35,000 Kuva with Archimedean Yonta. If you're pretty swift at carving through a mission such as Exterminate, you can reasonably get a pinion every 5 minutes, making this effectively around 84,000 Kuva per hour, but just for that 25-minute window of farming. There's no way to boost this with companions or market boosters, but that's still less than half an hour for enough Kuva to take a brand new Riven to 14 rolls, or give a well-cycled Riven 10 more rolls. As for Riven Slivers, these can be traded in with Palladino at Iron Wake after completion of the quest Chains of Harrow. She has a few options on offer for Riven Slivers, all on a weekly limit, including 35,000 Kuva for 10 Riven Slivers. You can get these slivers all over the place, including as a rare drop from Maximus units, a common reward from Requiem relics, rarely from defeating the Jackal on Venus above level 40, such as on the Steel Path, and rarely from Railjack missions. The best farm for Riven Slivers is undoubtedly from Sorties, specifically when you get an Xmas Stronghold mission. That modifier bypasses the usual Xmas spawn limit, giving you many more chances for drops than a normal mission. Otherwise, these can be a bit of a grind to acquire outside of Requiem relics. The main takeaway is that you've got potentially 70,000 Kuva a week waiting to be picked up from Voidplumes and Riven Slivers, where you have them available to turn in. The other two means of buying Kuva from shops have continuous options available rather than a weekly lock. Vitus Essence can be obtained solely from completing arbitration missions. These are unlocked once you've completed the entire star chart, including completion of the quest Angels of the Zariman. Vitus Essence is traded in at rate of 25 Essence for 10,000 Kuva. When you do an arbitration mission, there are 3 sources of Vitus Essence. Every time you get a mission reward, such as surviving for 5 minutes or completing a round of disruption, you get 1 Vitus Essence guaranteed. On top of this, you have a 7% chance of 3 Vitus Essence as a round reward every round. Finally, the arbitration shield drones have a low 6% chance to drop 1 Vitus Essence when killed. While the round rewards are fixed values, you can increase both the drop rate of Vitus Essence from drones and the amount you pick up from them through the use of boosts such as Relay Blessings and Smeatikavat's Charm. How much Vitus Essence you'll get though can be quite varied. On the low end, you may get as little as 25 Vitus Essence per hour if you're unlucky or in a slow mission, while on the higher end, you can get around 40 or rarely even 50 per hour before including boosters. With boosters, this can climb to over 100 Vitus Essence per hour, especially when running with faster missions and a full squad. Converting that into Kuva, that's a low end rate of 10,000 Kuva per hour, a higher rate of 20,000 per hour, and a boosted rate of over 40,000 per hour. During this, you'll also pick up some Riven Slivers, going back to the trade-in potential with Palladino to supplement this even further once a week. Steel Essence, on the other hand, doesn't require you to do one specific endless mission to farm it, but it does still come online only after completing the entire star chart. Steel Essence can be traded in with Teshin in relays at a rate of 15 Essence per 10,000 Kuva. Once every 8 weeks, he also stocks a one-off purchase of 50,000 Kuva for 55 Essence, acting as a bulk buy discount. Steel Essence can be obtained by 3 methods. The basic method is to simply kill acolytes during Steel Path missions. They spawn on average every 5 minutes, varying plus or minus a couple minutes because they're awkward like that. Each acolyte will drop 2 Steel Essence when defeated, so that averages to 24 Essence per hour. As it's a resource pickup, you can enhance it with resource boosters with the standard resource booster, doubling that to 48 Essence per hour. You can also get regular Steel Essence by opening relics on the Steel Path. Each successfully opened relic awards you with 1 Steel Essence. For quicker missions, this can mean upward of 20 Essence per hour, while for slower missions, closer to 10 Essence per hour. This is alongside the drops from acolytes, however the Essence you get from relic awards is unaffected by boosters. The third source is from Steel Path Incursions, which is a daily set of 5 random Steel Path missions, each with a one-off bonus of 5 Steel Essence for completion. Some of them will take long enough for an acolyte to spawn, but many can be completed before they're able to do so. I'd generally recommend not waiting to force an acolyte spawn if you don't have a resource booster, as 2 more Essence may not be worth the extra time versus the 5 you'll already get for mission completion. In a test circuit, I managed to speed through 1 day's missions in 18 minutes for 25 Essence, which is the equivalent of 83 Steel Essence per hour. Looking at the always available trade of 15 Essence for 10,000 Kuva, that comes out at up to 16,000 Kuva per hour from acolytes, or 32,000 with a simple resource booster. You'll get between 7,000 to 13,000 Kuva per hour from opening relics on the Seal Path, and potentially over 50,000 Kuva per hour effective rate from the daily incursions, though you're still only limited to 25 essence daily that way. Naturally, you can combine the Acolyte drops with the relic opening reward to double dip on the farm. This isn't the end of what you can do on the Steel Path, but to investigate it further, we should now look at the direct farms for Kuva. Those farms are Kuva Survival, Disruption, Siphons, and Floods, as well as Requiem relics. Kuva Siphons and Floods are limited missions, refreshing every hour. Each refresh spawns 5 Siphon missions on random nodes close to the Kuva fortress, in addition to a single Kuva Flood node. These missions have the normal mission going on, in addition to a Kuva Siphon being placed somewhere on the map. Once you find it, you need to hang around it while keeping the enemies at bay until a screaming red mist starts approaching the Siphon. I don't know why it's screaming, and it's probably best we don't ask. Use your operator's weapon or void sling to destroy the mist before it reaches the Siphon. Repeating this 4 times over the course of a couple minutes will destroy the Siphon and allow you to claim the Kuva. Do be aware that the Siphon will not always appear along the main mission path, so you may need to check down side paths to find it. Kuva Siphon missions will give you roughly 625 Kuva per mission with a small variance, while Kuva Flood missions will give you twice as much. This is a resource pickup, meaning that resource boosters and Smeeter's Charm can double the Kuva. Alongside this Kuva, you also have a 50% chance of getting a Requiem relic, or 100% from a Kuva Flood mission. These relics will be important later. On running these myself across various types, the average time for these missions comes out to a little over 6 minutes, including loading times. This makes the effective rate of Kuva about 6,000 per hour from Siphons and 12,000 per hour from Floods, before considering the effects of boosters. Fully boosted, a typical Kuva Flood can have an effective rate of 31,000 Kuva per hour. That's only the effective rate though, because you're still limited to the 5 Siphons and 1 Flood per hour, and they shouldn't take you an entire hour. Moving on then to Kuva Survival. This is the bread and butter mission for players farming substantial amounts of Kuva. It's mostly similar to normal survival mission, but each life support capsule also spawns alongside a marked unit. This marked unit carries a Kuva catalyst that, when brought to a life support capsule, will turn it into a Kuva harvester. Over the course of 1 minute, you must defend the harvester, resulting in 200 Kuva if you are successful. As the life support spawns at a rate of 1 every 90 seconds, but the Kuva harvester only needs 60 seconds to gather Kuva, you'll only ever have to defend 1 capsule at a time when done optimally. At base then, 200 Kuva every 90 seconds comes out to 8,000 Kuva per hour, and is once again affected by resource boosters and Smeeter Kavat. What's extra special about Kuva Survival is that it's also periodically picked as a Requiem Void Fissure, allowing us to use those Requiem relics from the Kuva Siphons and Floods. Requiem relics have a common reward of 1,200 Kuva. In a group of 4 players with intact relics, this gives you a 68.9% chance of getting a Kuva reward with every round. In Kuva Survival, you'll open up a relic after 5 minutes of survival, coming out to about 10 to 11 relics per hour when you include the reward and relic selection time. Not only that, but the relics also contain a common reward of a Riven Sliver. As I mentioned earlier, 10 of these per week can be traded in for 35,000 Kuva, making one of them effectively worth 3,500 Kuva, almost 3 times as much as the actual Kuva pickup. You can't endlessly trade in Riven Slivers for Kuva this way, but it is still a good option if you haven't maxed out your sliver purchases for the week. With both of these options on the table, a squad of 4 players will have a 94.1% chance of getting either Kuva or a Riven Sliver somewhere in the 4 relics every single round. If you're only looking for the Kuva option, this comes out to about 9,000 Kuva per hour, while accounting for the Riven Slivers, this brings you up to nearly 30,000 Kuva per hour just from these relics. But we're not done yet. You see, not only does this allow you to open up Requiem relics alongside the Kuva Survival mission, it also adds on an extra resource booster from the relic rewards every few relics. After 3 relics, that's a 25% booster, 50% after 8 relics, 75% after 13 relics, and 100% boost after 18 relics. That is 15, 40, 65 and 90 minutes in respectively, so it will take a long mission to get that maximum value. At the start of the mission then, you'd be looking at an effective rate of 8,000 Kuva per hour from the harvesters, another 8,000 from your own resource booster, and a further 9,000 Kuva per hour from the relics you're opening. That's a starting rate of 25,000 Kuva per hour, increasing to 29,000 after 3 relics, and up to a max of 41,000 per hour after 18 relics. Without your own booster, you're still starting at 17,000 per hour and climbing up to 25,000 per hour after 90 minutes of survival. The other endless Kuva mission is Kuva Disruption. Just like normal Disruption, you'll need to be well equipped to take down heavy units barreling towards conduits in order to pull this off. Having either good audio or good enemy radar and game sense is crucial to doing this efficiently. Assuming you do everything correctly, you'll get a 50 Kuva drop from every Demolisher for 200 per round, as well as Kuva from the round rewards. The first 2 rounds will give you 200 Kuva each, while the following rounds will give you 350 Kuva each most of the time, with a rare chance to get a universal medallion instead. This rate of Kuva from Disruption is more varied due to it being tied to your squad's efficiency, not just a timer. If you're running slowly at 5 minutes per round, then the first hour of Disruption would secure you 6,300 Kuva. However, when I soloed this, I could maintain a rate of about 2 minutes per round, which instead comes out to 16,000 Kuva per hour without boosts. Resource boosters in Kuva Disruption sadly do not boost all of your Kuva. The Kuva from killing Demolishers will get boosted, but the Kuva from the round rewards is a fixed value. From round 3 onwards, close to 40% of the Kuva you'll get is from drops, which means practically speaking, the boosters are about 40% of their usual effectiveness. This means with a booster, a 2 minute per round squad will get about 22,000 Kuva per hour. Just like with Survival, Kuva Disruption can also be done as a Requiem Fissure when it's available, but this does come at the cost of having to select relics and gather reactant, both of which substantially slow down the round times that are possible. My personal experience was that this slowed it down to about 4 minutes per round, which is about 8,000 Kuva per hour from the Disruption and about 12,000 Kuva per hour from the relics, again only counting Kuva rewards, not the Riven Slivers. That comes out to 20,000 Kuva per hour without boost, or 23,000 per hour with a booster. A dedicated creep can potentially do this quicker, and you are definitely rewarded for your speed in this mission. To put this simply then, what this means is that if you're able to play at a high tier, then Kuva Disruption is potentially a lot faster for you than Kuva Survival, and the Requiem Fissure Disruption remains higher for shorter runs if you don't have your own booster to bring along. But hold up, it's not just Requiem Fissures which overlap with these 2 endless Kuva missions. You can also do them both on the Steel Path. This means you can add on the Steel Essence farming from Acolytes, and even add on the Steel Essence from opening up Requiem relics in Steel Path Fissures. Put together, this can mean tens of thousands of extra Kuva per hour from Steel Essence, especially if you're using a Resource Booster and accrue the Endless Fissure boosters. Theoretically speaking, for a squad that min-maxes, running a Steel Path Requiem Fissure after 18 relics opened with Resource Boosters active and a Smeatakavat procced about 30% of the time, this caps out at about 141,000 Kuva per hour for both Kuva Survival and Kuva Disruption, assuming the Disruption team is cracking a relic every 3 minutes. That is an intense maximum, an hour or more into these missions, but it is possible and will score enough Kuva to roll a well-used Riven every 90 seconds. So to recap, if you're looking to get a casual amount of Kuva every now and then, some speed farming Voidplume Pinions and Steel Path incursions will do you well. Kuva Siphons and Kuva Floods will give you regular amounts of Kuva and Requiem relics, while Kuva Survival and Disruption will give you even more Kuva at the cost of no extra relics. And should you want to dial it up to 11, combine the Steel Path, the relics, and your choice of endless Kuva mission for an incredible payout of Kuva. Just remember to take regular breaks, of course. I hope this serves you well in picking the Kuva farm that is right for you. That's all from me for now though, so a shout out to those of you who support the channel as members, either here on YouTube or over on Patreon. You lot are awesome. And as always, farm Kuva, roll Rivens, and fight well, Tenno.